Okay, good evening, everyone. All right, so I want to have a sort of discussion or a chat this evening about um, net zero, energy efficiency, and retrofits. Okay, so we're all aware, current sort of political context of the desire to achieve carbon zero carbon emissions by 2050. That's been something that's been around since 2005, in fact. And how are we going to do it? All right, so very briefly, there are around about 28 million existing properties in Britain, many of which are pretty inefficient as far as energy efficiency is concerned. So the government is talking about improving those, and they're all going to need insulation improvements in order for us to achieve those targets. As a ventilation professional, we've been doing this for 15 years. My family's been doing it for a lot longer. We know that if you make retrofit improvements to insulation without improving ventilation, then you'll end up with problems of indoor air quality, which leads to health and well-being issues, and obviously costs with the health service and so on. So we had the pandemic recently. The prevailing advice was to open windows and so on, which basically goes against the logic of trying to save energy, especially in winter. And a lot of people who sort of talk about, give advice to the industry, talk about, the only real way of improving, indoor air quality is by opening windows or by installing ducted systems like MVHR. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. In some certain circumstances, MVHR retrofits are okay, but in general, that's not the answer. Nor, by the way, are ducted MEV, so centralized extraction systems. In our experience, the best retrofit is positive input ventilation. Past 2035 incidentally talks about PIV, but it kind of shoots itself in the foot because it advises PIV should be used with trickle vents, which if anyone with experience knows, or lots of experience with PIV, you know that trickles and air bricks should not be used with PIV, and it does not cause interstitial condensation, incidentally. But the fact is that positive input ventilation, what it does do is it does improve the ventilation rates, it does improve the indoor air quality. It's also highly energy efficient, but it does all of these things without any energy wastage. And this is, or very, very limited energy wastage. This is extremely important. If you're considering a retrofit where you might be weighing up input ventilation with, or PIV with MVHR, for example, one of the rules about using MVHR is that there shouldn't be any leakage. So a lot of existing properties are much leakier than new builds, so that immediately puts MVHR at a disadvantage. And that leakiness is actually used by PIV to help the process. Now, a lot of people without experience think that that causes interstitial condensation. It's complete rubbish. If it did, then there'd be lots of evidence of that. We've never seen it. And I'm very close to a lot of manufacturers who have also never seen it. And yet a lot of people who sit in labs and have never really done installs in their lives believe that that's what happens, which of course is not true. The fact is that as a professional, with the drive to improve insulation, which undoubtedly is the right thing to do, and obviously look for more sustainable ways of creating heat and heating properties, which, by the way, my company is also capable of doing. We're F-gas certified, and we do a lot of heat pumps and air conditioning these days. Basically, with all the insulation retrofit improvements, what we don't want to do is create another problem with society by creating health issues further down the line. There's absolutely loads of evidence of that. And Ella Deborah is one such example, where obviously air pollution was cited, but there was not really much mention of the potential of indoor air quality as a contributor. It's just really just focused about road traffic pollution. As a professional indoor air quality person, the fact that we spend 80-90% of our time indoors, a lot of health issues are more likely to be associated with our indoor air than outdoor air, but I'm not suggesting at all that outdoor air pollution is not an issue either. The fact is that if our country is to get anywhere near achieving the 2050 net zero targets, then obviously the insulation retrofits need to be done, but we must also ensure that ventilation improvements are made. And we need to be doing that without wasting energy. So natural background ventilation strategies are notoriously inefficient at that. A lot of people without experience would disagree, but the fact is that the vast majority of British properties are built with natural background strategies, and many of them are that is the primary reason why we see condensation and mould and other issues, because those strategies are very, very inefficient in our winters. Positive input ventilation and MVHR, those processes work without any wastage at all. You can actually keep the windows closed all the way through the winter, and it's very, very, never see any issues, and it's very, very good. So rather a long video this time. If anybody would like to talk to me about this, more than happy. If any people who love PAS 35 or people that might disagree with me completely on some of these things, it wouldn't be the first time. If anyone wants to talk to me about any of this, come and have a chat. Okay, we're Better Indoors, www.betterindoors.com or www.bi-services.co.uk. We're experts in this, and be good to talk to anybody. Thank you.